session. Well, so we talked about independent variable and dependent variable. Now let's talk about two other variables which are actually of importance to us, which are called moderator and mediator variables. Sometimes in some research books, they are considered as interchangeably. I mean, they consider both moderator and mediator as the same, but they have different natures. So let's see how these two are different. The first point is that when we call a variable moderator, it means that it had the potential to be another independent variable. We include it in the research so it can affect the effect of the independent variable on dependent. It means that it can influence the direction or strength of the relationship or effect of independent variable on dependent variable. For example, in the previous example, the influence of English learners' vocabulary knowledge on the students' speaking skill. We may have gender as another independent variable. We may have race as another independent variable. We can have social class as another independent variable. It means that the influence of vocabulary knowledge on a speaking skill might be influenced by gender, by race, or social class of the students. So race, gender, and social class are those variables which cannot be measured, I mean in terms of the number, and we cannot change them. So they are called non-measurable moderator. But sometimes we can change the, let's say, moderator, that we can measure it, so it is called the measurable one. So the same example can be for the previous one as level of knowledge. So the influence of English learners' vocabulary knowledge on their speaking skill here, maybe, for example, the students' proficiency level is considered as another independent variable which can be called the moderator. So moderator is the potential independent variable that can be added to the research and can influence the direction or strength of the relationship or effect of independent variable on dependent variable. Look at this diagram to actually see it clearly. For example, in this research, we want to see the influence of work experience on the amount of salary. Can you tell me what is independent variable in this study? If I want to investigate the work experience, the influence of work experience on salary of people, which is independent variable? Which is independent variable?
Can you hear me?
Yes?
Yes, mediator variables explain show the independent variable affects the dependent variable. So, for example, socioeconomic status, parental education, mediator child reading ability.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much for explaining the moderator. Thank you. So, as you see in the example we have in this slide, the work experience is the independent variable. I want to see the influence of work experience on the salary. So salary is called what here? What variable is? Salary is dependent, exactly. So now here, gender of those people who are in the study can be considered as another independent variable which might influence the work experience, the effect of work experience on salary. It means that, when we have the, let's say, work experience and its effect on salary, the student's gender as being male or female can influence this actually relationship, this effect. So people with the work experience If they are male, maybe they receive more money. When they are female, in some institutes, in some, factories, they receive lower salary. So not only their work experience, but also gender may influence their amount of salary. Now, we have another type, which is called mediator. By mediator, we mean something that comes between independent and dependent variable, and it mediates the effect of independent on independent. Let me show you by diagram. Look here, I want to see the influence of the student's socioeconomic status on their reading ability. Okay, so here independent variable is socioeconomic status of a student, and their reading ability is the dependent variable. Now, maybe the student's reading ability is influenced by their parental education level. How? For example, those parents who have higher education levels may read books for your friends, for their children, may actually buy more books for their children. So the parental education level may mediate between the socioeconomic status and child reading ability. So if someone is an English, so you can learn him as the grammar, but if there is a boy from Iran, yeah, exactly. The background may influence, exactly. So the moderator and mediator can be seen in this diagram. Look, the moderator influences the effect between independent and dependent, okay, as you see, and the mediator is influenced by the independent variable and influences the dependent variable. So what is the difference between mediator and moderator? Moderator variable influences the relationship or effect. Mediator variable is actually directly influences the dependent variable. Okay, good. Thank you. So now, look, we have another type of variable, which is called control. Sometimes we include and we consider other variables in our study. They are called moderator or mediator, but sometimes some variables are not of importance. We do not care about their influence. We either remove or exclude them from the study. It means that we do not include them in the study. For example, look at this topic, the influence of Iraqi English learners' vocabulary knowledge on their speaking skill. Vocabulary knowledge is the independent variable. The speaking skill is the dependent variable. Now, what is this Iraqi English? English learners, not Persian learners, not French learners. So this is a control variable. We control variables in order to have control over the condition. If you remember, we said in positivism paradigm, which is the basis of quantitative research, we control the condition to have objective data, to have objective research. In order to have objective research, we need to control the condition. How we control the condition? By controlling the gender of participants, by controlling their nationality, by controlling the language they learn, by controlling the context, by controlling the proficiency level. So here in this topic, being Iraqi is a control variable. It means that I don't want to do research on Iranian English learners, on, for example, other Arab countries' English learners. Yeah, exactly. For example, we control the classroom size. Exactly. I want to see how A influences B in small classes, in large classes. Exactly. Good point. Look at the other example, the effect of female teachers' classroom management style on the advanced English learners' participation in the discussion class. If you remember, we said classroom management style is the independent variable. We want to see its influence on the students' participation in the discussion classes. So discussion classes here, participation in the discussion classes, actually is the dependent variable. What are the control variables? female teachers. It means that I control the gender of the teachers. Why? Because maybe the female teacher's classroom management style is different from the male teacher's classroom management style. Also, I control the level of proficiency, advanced English learners, not intermediate learners, not elementary learners, okay? Exposure to language outside the classroom. That's right, exactly. This can be the control. For example, I include just those students who do not have exposure to English outside the class because I don't want actually this factor to influence the dependent variable. The context is important, that's right. The age or gender, exactly, that's right. So control variables are those variables that we control in order to have control over the condition, in order to have objective data, in order to have the influence of independent variable on dependent variable, not other factors. Look here, if I do not control the gender of the teacher, maybe the gender of the teacher can influence their classroom management style, and maybe the gender of the teacher influence the students' participation in the class. So the participation of the students in the discussion class is not just influenced by the classroom management style. So my research is not reliable. My research is not valid. So in order to have valid and reliable research, we need to control variables. We cannot investigate several variables. We cannot investigate 10 variables. So 2 or 3 variables can be studied, can be researched, can be explored, and the rest of variables should be controlled. Okay? You can write other examples in the chat box of the control variables that we can have in a study. So I'm waiting for you. You can write. Let me upload a file to practice the independent, dependent variables more. So let me see whether I can, let's see, I can upload another file here. So let me change it into PDF so that I can share with you. Okay. So let me show you some topics, okay, so that you can understand what we mean by dependent and independent. So can you see the file I shared? The PDF file, can you see that? Okay, good. So look, we have a topic, a research topic here. It is investigating. Look, this is, this topic, this one. When female teachers are present, while boys perform better when they are taught by a male teacher. Yeah, exactly. The gender of the teacher can influence actually the performance of the students. Okay, now let's do this together, okay, in order to practice dependent, independent variables. Investigating the effects of pre-reading activities on reading anxiety and reading comprehension of, this is of EFL learners, a case of drama versus video. Can you tell me the independent variable in this topic? What is the independent variable here? Can you write it in the chat box? We said independent variable is cause, dependent variable is effect. Can you tell me what the independent variable is in this topic? This can be, for example, an exam question. I give you a research topic and I ask you to determine the independent, dependent variable, the control variable, the moderator variable. Okay? So what is the dependent variable here? Sorry, what is the independent variable, I mean? Here, okay? This is the research topic, investigating the effects of pre-reading activities on reading anxiety and reading comprehension. Sorry. What is the independent variable in this research topic? So I'm waiting for your responses in the chat box. No. Okay. So, and the independent variables are pre-reading activities. Okay. So pre-reading activities, because I want to see the effect of pre-reading activities. Okay. Reading anxiety and reading comprehension are dependent variables. Okay. So you see, I want to see the effect of A on B. What is A? Pre-reading activities. What are pre-reading activities? For example, drama and video. Okay? This is the independent variable. I want to see the effect of pre-reading activities on what? On reading anxiety and reading ability. Yeah, this is dependent. Okay? So let's see another example. Let's see another example. This one. Effects of multimedia-based pre-reading activities on university students' development of growth mindset and reading skills. So here, what is the independent variable here? Good. So what is the independent here? I want to see the effect of A on B. What is A here? The effect of independence. So what is it? No, here. Exactly. Multimedia-based pre-reading activities. That's right. What are the dependent variables? What are the dependent variables? The effect of A on B. So B is dependent variable, development of growth mindset and reading skills. Now, can you find a control variable here? What is the control variable in this research? Thank you very much for the explanation you share, but I'm talking about this research topic. Exactly, university students. It means that I don't want to conduct research on high school students, on primary school students. I want to conduct my research only on university students. So this is the control variable. Okay? Good. Now let's see another research topic, the impact of digital bilingual multimodal composition on L2 writing and writing anxiety. Now, in this topic, can you tell me what the independent variable is?
Doctor, excuse me?
Yes, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
The
yes,
arrow
sure.
not the same place. The arrow not on the place, on the right place. The arrow on the black color.
Okay, so I mean number 5, topic number 5. Can you see it?
Where is it? No. I see effect and multimedia based on pre-reading activities on universities. Just.
So
Yeah.
I see, okay. So can you
So
see
five,
it
yes,
now?
yes, yes. The impact of digital bilingual.
Yeah. So I'm in
Yes,
number 5. So
yes.
can you
The impact
can
of
you
digital
tell me
bilingual
the, yes,
multimedia.
exactly. So
Yes.
in number 5, tell me the independent variable and the dependent ones. So you can write in the chat box. What is the independent variable here? Exactly. Digital, bilingual, multimodal composition. What about dependent variables? So dependent variables are, you can write in the chat box. Exactly. L2 writing and writing anxiety. These are the dependent variables. Now let's see number 6. The role of personality and emotional intelligence in speaking skills of intermediate level learners in Iran. Yeah, thank you. So can you tell me the independent variable in this topic, number 6? Personality and emotional intelligence. Exactly. Thank you. The role of intelligence. Yeah, the role of emotional intelligence and personality. What about the dependent variables? That's right. Speaking skill is the dependent. Good. So, what about the control variables? Can you see control variables here? That's right. Great. Thank you. So when we have intermediate level learners in Iran, okay, it means that my students that participate in this research would be intermediate level, not advanced, not elementary, not beginner, and they would be in Iran, not in any other country. Okay, so the context is controlled. The proficiency level is controlled. Yeah, that's right. Okay, now let me see whether I have, okay, good. So we can continue now. Let me share the slide again. Exam would be something like this from this chapter. I will give you a research topic and I ask you to determine the variables. That's easy, isn't it? You need to know what independent variables, what dependent variables, control variables are. Very easy, I think. Yeah, that's it. So, we have another type of variables which are called confounding. Confounding variables are the ones which are difficult to be observed or controlled. They can be sometimes intervening. It means that we cannot control their effect. For example, when you conduct research, you want to see the influence of a student's emotional intelligence on their speaking skill in university. But you can't control the factors in that university which are not educational, which are related to other environmental factors, related to the buildings, related to the food of the students. So these factors which cannot be controlled or cannot be measured, but they exist and we can't do anything about them, are called intervening confounding. But those which can be actually controlled are called extraneous. They are similar to control variables. For example, when we said we control the influence of gender. Okay, this is which is there but can be observed and can be controlled. So confounding variable is a third variable that influences both the dependent and independent. That's right. So if we want our study to be valid, we need to control it. We need to consider and control as many confounding variables as possible. This is what we need to do. Okay? So look at the example. Yeah, it's necessary. We need to understand them. Look at this example. The influence of Iraqi English learners' vocabulary knowledge on their speaking skill. Now, can you tell me the independent variable in this topic? Can you write the independent variable? What is the independent variable in this topic? The influence of Iraqi English learners' vocabulary knowledge on their speaking skill. What is the independent? Speaking skill is the dependent. What about independent? Speaking is the dependent variable. What about independent variable? Vocabulary, or let's say vocabulary knowledge. Okay, good. Yeah. Now, can you tell me the control variables? What are the control variables here? Yeah, the control variable here is, Iraqi English learners. They are Iraqi, not Iranian, not French, not American. They are English learners, not other languages, okay? Now, we may have confounding variable intervening ones like grammar knowledge, okay? For example, we know the students study grammar as well, and it can influence their speaking skill, but it is not part of our study, so we don't consider it, we don't measure it. Or we can have extraneous factor like gender, like proficiency level. We may control it. For example, we know grammar knowledge can influence the speaking skill, but proficiency level is more important. If we do not consider proficiency level, we can't say that vocabulary knowledge influences the speaking skill. Maybe it is the proficiency level of the learners that influence the speaking skill. For example, if you have elementary, advanced, and intermediate students in your research, maybe their speaking skill scores are different because of their proficiency level, not their vocabulary knowledge. Okay, so these are the confounding variables. That's right. Thank you very much. Good. So now the point is that, yeah, exactly. The vocabulary knowledge was the independent variable. Now, the point is that when we conduct research, if we want to design our research well, if we want to have a reliable data, if we want to have reliable findings, we need to define our variables conceptually and operationally. What does it mean? By conceptually, it means that when I have a variable, for example, vocabulary knowledge, emotional intelligence, pre-reading activities, I need to provide my audience with theoretical definition. I need to define the variable by reference to relevant theories and models, by referring to the sources which provide the theoretical explanations, the theoretical foundations, the models. For example, consider this topic. this topic, okay? Iraqi English learners vocabulary knowledge. Based on what model I define the vocabulary knowledge? What do I mean by vocabulary knowledge? What do I mean by the speaking skill? These variables have their definitions in the source books, in the articles written by the scholars, by the great people in our field of study. So I need to define the variables conceptually. This is called conceptual definition. Conceptual definition refers to the definition of a variable by pointing to the theoretical basis, by referring to the person who was the theoretician, who presented the idea first. So, for example, consider multiple intelligences. I'm sure you heard multiple intelligences, yeah? That each person has different intelligence types: verbal intelligence, linguistic intelligence, musical intelligence, interpersonal intelligence. So, I want to investigate the effect of a student's multiple intelligences on their listening skill. Okay, so multiple intelligences here are considered as the independent variables and the listening skill as the dependent variable. Now, I want to do research. I need to provide conceptual definition of the variable. What is my independent variable? Multiple intelligences. So I need to define what I mean by my multiple intelligences and who is a great figure in multiple intelligences. Who is the person who is famous and talked about multiple intelligences? Gardner. Okay? Howard Gardner is a scientist, is a researcher, he's a scholar who presented ideas about multiple intelligences. I can show you a clip related to multiple intelligences. Actually, it's not related to research, but it might be interesting for you to see that, okay, as kind of break. So, multiple intelligences were presented by Howard Gardner, okay? So, if I want to write the definition for multiple intelligences, I need to refer to Howard Gardner's book, to Howard Gardner's speech, to Howard Gardner's article. Then, after conceptual definition, I have operational definition. What is operational definition? Now I should clarify, I should explain how I measure multiple intelligences of the students in my research. You may say, I use a questionnaire, I use interview, I use observations, I may ask the students about their multiple intelligences, I may provide my students with a link on a website in which they can take a multiple intelligences test. So this is called operational definition. So conceptual definition is the theoretical definition. We refer to books and articles. We refer to great scholars who presented, who introduced actually the variable. But operational definition refers to the procedures that I use for measuring that particular variable in my research. How I want to actually measure the, let's say, concept in my study. Yes, Gardner is a psychologist actually who presented multiple intelligences theory, and we use it in our teaching practices. For example, if a student has musical intelligence, high musical intelligence, the student would be able to imitate the accent of Americans well. Or that student would be good in pronunciation, that student would be good in listening skill. If a student, for example, has interpersonal intelligence, can we call the procedures strategies? The operational definition. The operational definitions can be the procedure, but it is called the operational definition. So we don't call it the procedure strategies. Yeah, logical, naturalistic. Yeah, these are the actually types of intelligences that we have. Yes. So do you like to watch a clip related to multiple intelligences before I explain the scales of measurement? Are you interested in knowing about multiple intelligences in our field of study? It can be a kind of break, huh? So let me show you a clip related to that. It's really nice and interesting. Let me find a clip and share it with you if I can. So let me see if I can find it. Yes, okay. So let it be uploaded. We can watch it together and then we move to our research. Okay. So let's watch it together. It's about 6 minutes, okay? So let's.
This is Tommy, and his parents say he's very intelligent. Wait, what does that even mean? Well, a majority of people would assume he gets very good grades in school. But even though this is a sign of intelligence, it isn't the only defining factor of what makes someone smart. IQ tests, for instance, are a common way to test intelligence, but most of these tests examine proficiency in spatial, verbal, or mathematical intelligence. American psychologist Howard Gardner thought this was strange, as there are many ways people can be intelligent. He then developed his theory of multiple intelligences, which describes 9 areas where people can be proficient. Number 1. Naturalist intelligence. Think of Katniss Everdeen from The Hunger Games, Chuck Noland from Castaway, and Julie from Julie of the Wolves. With a keen eye to detail and easily noticing changes in their surroundings, people with high naturalist intelligence will be very good at surviving in the wild. They have a cunning ability to distinguish between different animals, plants, clouds, rocks, etc. In today's modern world, they are able to distinguish between different kinds of makeup, cars, smartphones, and other items. Number 2. Musical intelligence. Having a high musical intelligence indicates you're very good at things to do with sounds. These can include characteristics such as rhythm, tone, and pitch. If you've got a high musical intelligence, you're good at recognizing, creating, and reproducing music. You might even have a high mathematical intelligence too, as these two things often involve similar thought processes. If you happen to play an instrument and have a high musical intelligence, you're probably quite good at playing by ear. Number 3. Logical mathematical intelligence. People with a high score on logical mathematical intelligence are good at abstract symbolic thought, using letters in formulas to indicate relationships between factors, and reasoning skills such as inductive and deductive reasoning. They are good at considering hypotheses, carrying out calculations, and quantifying data. Number 4. Existential intelligence. People with a high existential intelligence are good philosophical thinkers. They are good at philosophizing and thinking about questions that might not have a real, definite answer. They have a sensitivity towards the deeper questions of life and like challenging related concepts. They're not easily confused by their own feelings. Number 5. Interpersonal intelligence. People with a high interpersonal intelligence are often good at communicating with others. They are good at noticing shifts in others' moods and motives, as well as taking multiple perspectives on a subject. They often score high on empathy and do well in socially orientated work, such as teaching, social work, and acting. Number 6. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence. People with this type of intelligence love movement. They have high body awareness and good motor skills. Because of that, they often excel in activities that involve body movement, such as sports and dance. They learn best by doing and are keen to figuring things out through experimentation. Number 7. Linguistic intelligence. People high in linguistic intelligence are better than average at understanding subtle differences in meaning. They tend to pick up new words and languages quicker. It's a widely shared skill, often found in people that work in journalism, teaching, or even public speaking. Furthermore, people with a high linguistic intelligence tend to have a broader vocabulary than average. Children and young adults with a high linguistic intelligence tend to be drawn to language-orientated activities, such as reading, writing, word puzzles, and telling stories. Number 8. Intrapersonal intelligence. People with a high intrapersonal intelligence are good at understanding their own feelings and thoughts, and working them to achieve their goals. They are good at motivating themselves from the inside out, without any visible or physical reward. It involves more than just understanding and planning their goals, but also a less definite appreciation of the human condition. People with a high intrapersonal intelligence are often good philosophers and psychologists. Number 9. Spatial intelligence. People with a high spatial intelligence are good at things that require mental manipulations of physical perspectives. These people tend to be very skilled at map reading, jigsaw puzzles, and seeing or drawing objects and situations from a different perspective, without necessarily having seen it from that perspective. They do not easily get lost, and are often good at working their way around a maze. Spatial reasoning, image manipulation, and graphic and artistic skills are often well developed in people with a high spatial intelligence. People with this skill are often good at sailing, being a pilot, sculpting, painting, or designing architectural features and spaces. Young people with good spatial intelligence are often drawn to visually stimulating activities, like drawing. So, those are the 9 types of intelligence. Which types of intelligence do you feel describe you the best? Comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Well, I hope you enjoyed watching the clip. Have you ever taken the test for multiple intelligences? Have you ever taken multiple intelligences test to check your intelligence types? So you can do this. Just surf the net and write multiple intelligences test online. And you can take a test and the result would be very nice. You can understand different intelligence types that you have, and it can help you as a teacher. Actually, when you understand your intelligence types, you can take advantage of intelligence types, and then you can develop activities for your students so that they can identify their intelligences. And you know, they can check their intelligences and you can develop their intelligence types. For example, if you see you have students who are shy and you know, they have low interpersonal intelligence, you can give them more group work in your classes. Then in the group work activities, they will have actually, you know, kind of developing their interpersonal intelligence. That would be very nice. Okay, so let's continue with the scales of measurement. You know, when we want to operationalize our variables, when we want to do our research, as we said, we need to measure the variables. We need to use the numbers. We need to quantify, actually, the, let's say, variables. Quantification means we assign numbers to attributes or characteristics. Attributes or characteristics here mean the variables. Now, we have 4 scales of measurement, okay? Some of them are useful in our field of study, but some of them are not useful. The first one is nominal scale. For example, in nominal scale, we have categories, we have names and labels, but numbers do not have meanings. That's 7. A language lecture. You mean the time passed? How many of you, oh yeah, Abdul Hussein Ali Ahmad, how many of you have the language lecture? So the class is recorded, okay? I will finish the class in 10 or 15 minutes. And after that, the class will be finished, okay? But if you have to leave, you can. but the class will be finished in 10 or 15 minutes. So in nominal scale, we have names and labels. We have, for example, gender. It's classification. That's right. Thank you. We have classification. Thank you, Zahra. So gender, nationality, marital status. For example, you can be single or married, or finally divorced. Okay. For example, more than these three we don't have. You can have affiliation. For example, affiliation to university, affiliation to school, affiliation to factory. Social status, field of study, learning style. These are the nominal examples of nominal scale. It means that, for example, in my study, I say group 1 female, group 2 male. 1 and 2 here do not have meanings. They refer to different categories. Okay, exactly. So this scale help us to make an objective measurement. That's right. Thank you. So for example, look at the examples. What is your gender? You can be either male or female. Okay, so we have categories. What is your hair color? 1 brown, 2 black. 2 here doesn't mean better than 1. 3 here doesn't mean more than 1. Okay, 3 is blonde. So it refers to categories. It refers to labels. So in nominal scale, we do not have numbers as meaningful. We have numbers as categories, as names, as labels. The second type of scale is ordinal. Yes, they can be classified, exactly. As we refer to those characteristics. Ordinal scale rank the characteristics in order with regard to importance, priority, size, strength. For example, 20 is more than 19. 18 is more than 16. 10 is more than 5. So they show the degree or level of a characteristic. For example, how do you feel today? 1, very happy. 2, unhappy. 3, okay. 4, happy. 5, very happy. So 5 here means more than 1. 5 means the highest level of being happy. So in ordinal scale, we have ranking, and the higher the rank is, the more that characteristic exists. Yeah, each level has a specific properties. That's right. Or look at this example. How satisfied are you with our service? Very unsatisfied 1, somewhat unsatisfied 2, neutral 3, somewhat satisfied 4, very satisfied 5. So what is the highest level? Very satisfied. What is the number? 5. So it means that here 5 is a number and it has meaning. It means you are very satisfied. So in ordinal scale, we have ranking, and the numbers actually have, let's say, meaning. So the ordinal scale contains qualitative data. Ordinal means order. Yeah, we rank the things. Yeah. If you have problem with the voice, you can exit the class and enter again. The third scale is interval. Interval means that we have predetermined numerical scale. It means that the values are meaningful and we have equal differences. Look. This is an example of interval scale. It shows the temperature. We have an interval of 10. Between 0 and 10, we have 1 elements. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Between 10 and 20, we have 10. Between 20 and 30, we have 10 again. So the difference between the consecutive numbers is the same. So here we have 10, from 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. So here, the more it is, the higher that characteristic is. And also, at the same time, we have equal differences. Okay? But the criticism for interval scale is that it doesn't have absolute zero. Be careful. Mostly, our scales of measurement in our field of study in English language teaching are interval, ordinal, and nominal. Okay, mostly these are the scales that we use in our research. We have the fourth type, which is called the ratio scale. which has absolute zero, and it is mostly used for distance, length, speed, acceleration. In physics, mostly it is useful. Why? Because we have absolute zero. For example, when you say the mass of something is zero, it means that it doesn't exist. When you say there is no distance between my house and your house, it means that there is no distance. So here we have absolute zero. Absolute zero means the absence of that characteristic. So this ratio scale is mostly not useful in social research, not useful in our field of study. It is used in physics, in chemistry, in mathematics, okay? So it is not used in our field of study. These are the scales of measurement that we use in order to operationalize the variables we have. So study chapters 4 and 5 of the book in order to know about variables, about research paradigms, research approaches, and scales of measurement. I uploaded these slides on LMS. Also, I sent these slides on Telegram group. You can have the slides, you can listen to my explanations. I recorded the class, you can re-watch the class in order to understand all these concepts and be ready for the exam. Any questions? Because, you know, some of your classmates have other classes. I don't want to take your time more. So we can finish the class now if you don't have any questions. Okay, I see some of you are typing in the chat box and waiting to see what you're writing. Okay. Chapter 5 is long. Can you point out the important topics are in the slides. Okay, if you see the slides of chapter 5, you will see actually the important points. Yeah, that's right. The ratio variable has all the characteristics. Thank you. Thank you very much. I see you wrote. Okay. Thank you very much. It was long actually, yes, because of different categories. Yeah, so we needed actually just with this lecture as PDF if you can. The PowerPoint files are available, so you can change them into PDF if you like, okay? So thank you very much for your participation. Send the I told you, you know, the digital copy is available on the website of SAMT. I sent the link on Telegram group. So you can enter the website and you can buy it online. The PDF version should be bought because of the copyright, and I don't have the PDF format. The PDF format actually is not available. Okay, it is only available on the website of SAMT publication. You should buy it, actually buy the PDF version online because of the copyright. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Have a nice time. See you next week.